Today's lesson is 10.5, dividing 3-digit by 1-digit numbers. The objective for today is that I will use the standard algorithm to divide 3-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers. The problem we are going to look at says, the local elementary school has 560 students. All 5 grades have the same number of students. How many students are in each grade? So for this problem, we are going to use our long division skills. So we are going to use, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Which stands for divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. In your notes, I want you to include just the most important numbers from the problem today, but I also do want you to include this part again. Every time we go to do this, it's so important that we write down our steps and make sure that we are kind of checking them off as we go. So I see that there's 560 students. Well, we're talking about 5 different grade levels that we are trying to figure out how many students are in each grade. It did tell us that it has the same number, which in division, we're always trying to make equal groups or have the same thing in each one of our groups. So we're going to go one place value at a time. How many times is 5? Going to 5 would be 1 time. Then I multiply. So notice I'm going to check off every time I do a step. Multiply 5 times the 1, the number I just wrote down, which would give me 5. I'll subtract 5 minus 5, which gives me 0. Now I'm checking to make sure my 0 is less than my 5, and it is. And now I bring down just the number next to it. So I bring down just my 6, and then I'm going to start over. And I'm switching colors to give you kind of a good visual of each step. So now I'm looking at my 6, and I'm asking myself how many times 5 goes into 6. Which would again be a 1. So again, I've done my multiplication or my division. Now I'm ready for my multiplication. 5 times 1, which is 5. Ready to subtract 6 minus 5, which is 1. Bring down my 0. Now whatever number I end up with down there is the number that I'm going to start with now. And I have a 10. So I'm asking myself, how many times is 5 going to 10? It would be 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract 10 minus 10, and I would get 0. So in this one, I have no remainder. So I can write remainder 0, or I don't have to write that part. But what is really important is that I write my answer of 112 with a label when it is a word problem. So 112 students in each grade. But I'm just going to leave it at students, 112 students. Go ahead and write down this problem in your notes. Since you've already written down your steps, you don't have to write them again. But if you feel like it would help you to write them again, please do. That is up to you. So we're going to go step by step. In this first one, I'm asking myself how many times 6 goes into just the first place value, which was a 6. 6 goes into 6 1 time. There's my division. Now I'm going to multiply. 6 times 1 is 6, so I write that. Now I'm going to subtract 6 minus 6, which gives me 0. Bringing down just the number that's next to it, which was a 2. How many times does 6 go into 2? Okay, because I'm back at division. I'm going to switch colors for you. Now I'm looking at division again. How many times does 6 go into 2? Well, that is 0 times. This is still important to continue to finish this out. 6 times 0 would be 0. Subtracting the 2. Then I bring down my 4. I've gone through all of my steps yet again. So that means now I'm ready for my last step. I'm looking at how many times 6 goes into 24. 6 goes into 24 4 times. So I write down my 4, which was with division. Now I multiply 6 times whatever number I just wrote down, which was 4. And I get 24. 24 minus 24 would give me 0. So again, I end up with a remainder of 0. So it would be 104, remainder 0. The last ones I want you to do in your notes are both questions 1 and 2. This one you can tell that you have everything in there that you need. So you need to follow your steps and solve questions 1 and 2.